Welcome to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan, where we inform, inspire, and motivate you to be a positive agent of change. Good morning on this, what? Thriving Thursday. All right. I know we got motivation. I know we got oomph. I know we got pish posh, all that good stuff to really get you going. And look, we've got Jennifer Kuzan on the microphone.
Morning.
Good morning, baby. Hey, look, I just want to send a shout out to everyone in the surrounding areas. That's Natchitoches, Gina, Alexandria on 88.1 FM, Monroe, West Monroe on 98.9 FM, Shreveport, Greenwood on 92.5 FM, St. Joseph, Natchez, Mississippi on 99.3 FM, and Lake Charles on 100.1 FM. And look, call in with your questions or comments to the radio station. Hey, you know those numbers. Just give us a shout out. Hey, look, I tell you, on this week, there has been so much just happening that, wow, that's all I can say really is just wow at how God is just really fast-tracking some things. I mean, at least to me, it seems like he's fast-tracking some things. It's almost like, and you can give me your opinion on this. It's almost like if you go to a movie and you know how you get there and you have this anticipation, you have an idea about what's going to happen, and then all of a sudden it's just totally different than what you expected.
Yes. That has been this week.
That has definitely been this week. I mean, it's like, okay, I've got my ticket. What is that movie theater thing? Okay, what's the one you go where you get the full effect, the chairs move and all that stuff? What is that? IMAX, yeah, there you go. Get that. You're expecting the full effect and you're like, okay, when it gets to the height of the movie, this is going to move, and then all of a sudden you get up in there and it's like the chair does this big drop, pop, and everything. You're like, wow, I wasn't really expecting all of this to happen. But I mean, it's really like that when you literally go in with an expectancy for God to actually do something in your life, and he just like really goes times 10 on you. I mean, he's just like, wow. He's like, oh, okay, you was expecting this, but let me show you how I'm really working. Let me show you what I'm really going to give you since you've been obedient to what I've called you to do. And, it really goes into what we've been talking about as far as like on this Thriving Thursday. Now, normally we come into the radio station. I mean, we've got everything situated. We've got some good notes, outline, the direction to go into. And, yesterday I was just like, okay, God, what are we going to be talking about tomorrow? Didn't hear anything. What are we going to be doing tomorrow? Didn't hear anything. Going to church last night. Didn't hear anything. Get in church. Boom. Here it comes. The big downpour, the download and everything. And I'm just like, oh, that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. And remember, I told you exactly how I work with God as far as like, God can be talking up there. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's some good stuff. What else you got? It's like how we do it.
A whole second conversation going on.
Oh, a whole second conversation. It's like with my wife, you make that tater tot casserole at the house, all right? And it's like, really? Oh, look, hey, you can say what you want. It's a simple little dish, but look, you see people lined up in droves trying to get to that casserole dish, trying to get it. But the thing is that God will use the simplest things and have you wanting more. Really, it is. It was just like that on last night. I don't even know if he realized what was happening, but at least for me. But when Pastor Greg was coming with that word last night, I was just like, man, I was one of those, how you're sitting in your seat and you're like being attentive and you're like, yes, Pastor, preach. And then all of a sudden you go to that mode to where you're leaning down and you're like, oh, this is good. Then you get all in the aisle with one leg and you're leaning to your side like you're saddling a horse or something. I'm like, oh, come on now, talk to me.
Some of us do not do that.
What? Look, I was into it. You hear me? Because he had him in a teaching mode. And I love the example of how he was using an extension cord. And the way he was using the extension cord is this. And what we're going to be if you need like a title, it's going to be called like His Word, His Way. That's my title today. Okay. His Word, His Way. And what that is that when God gives you his word, he's also giving you his way that he wants you to actually go about and do things, all right? And some of you might have just caught this full revelation just in that little explanation right there. But it was like at how when God comes to us, okay, and he's going to be talking to you in your moment right now, just like he was talking to me big time in my moment last night, and how he was speaking through, Pastor Greg, and then all of a sudden it turned around to where, how some of us, God says he gives us a word, and we standing on that word.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden something comes up, and, it was great at how he was using, manifestation as far as like for a financial breakthrough, a manifestation, no more lack of want, going along that line. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you get that word, what usually ends up happening after you get such a powerful word, that you've got prosperity that's just oozing out of your pores, And then as soon as you get a word like that, it's like Satan's like, okay, boys, let's see if they're really going to hold on to it. And then all of these calamities and all of these things try to come at you. And what he did, he had this extension cord, and he actually said, this is what God expects you to do, okay, when you get that word. And he had this one individual, this one guy, hold on to the end of this extension cord that he had wrapped up in a circle, and then he says, pull this out of my hand. And so he was holding on to the end of the extension cord, and the guy was just like really pulling. I mean, this wasn't a fake pulling. I mean, they were really pulling up there in the pulpit like a tug of war, right? And this guy, he was pulling so hard, he literally fell out of his seat on the floor, but he was still pulling. And, Pastor Greg, he had the mic in his hand and still had the extension cord, but he wouldn't let go no matter how much this guy was pulling. And he said, you know something? That's how God wants you to hold on to any word that I give to you, his word. And he says his way, and I'm like I said, I'm relating it in my words right now, as far as like that's how he wants you to hold on to his word when he's wanting you to go along the way that he's established for you. But he says, what typically ends up happening with a lot of people. He said, now he told the guy, pull the cord again. So he was like pulling the cord again, and he's holding on to it. Then all of a sudden he was just like, okay, you don't have 2 quarters to rub together in your pocket. You got this bill that came in. You got this unexpected thing to come in here. And then you have this coming right here. And then all of a sudden he said the devil's basically, and I'm going to put it to you like this, tries to come up in your face like all gangster. Now what? Now what? And then all of a sudden you let the cord go and you start walking off. Maybe I didn't hear God right in this situation, And when he did that, I mean, it was just like you just looked and it just went across the entire church to where you would heard everyone just like, oh. It was like a wave. It was going back and forth. But to have that visual like that to really just grab hold of you as far as like in his word and in his way. And he used it also as far as like in like someone that's believing in a manifestation of healing in their body, to where as soon as you holding on to God's word, and he's like, it's amazing. And I'm putting my, it's amazing that someone can actually hold on to the, say like if someone's battling like cancer and you holding on to this word, but then all of a sudden you see the evidence, you're getting the signs, the remission and everything is happening. And then all of a sudden you could, and I'm like putting my example, you can get a pain or whatever in your arm, and then the devil start making you think that's related to the cancer.
Right.
And then you start, oh my Lord, maybe I didn't get my healing. Maybe I'm not in the remission and everything.
And then you give up your healing.
And you give up. And he's like, God literally gave you a check, and I'm putting, this is the way God's giving it to me now. It's like God literally gives you a check to cash, and when you cash it, when you give up on it, you go ahead and transfer the funds into the devil's account. I mean, that's something right there. That's really something. So look, I know God's really, I know God's just really hitting you right there, because like I said, he's wanting you to be free to receive all that he has in store for you on this season. His word, his way. And definitely he's going to really captivate you and just set you free. So look, we're going to take you to this quick break, but stay in your moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan. Wow, thriving Thursday. And I know I know that opening, that first portion of the show definitely wow, it just caught you right where you are. I tell you, it's something. I was just telling my wife off there, I said, look, it's funny. I have everything that I was listening to last night and what God actually was revelating to me. And, it may not be the exact same words, but it's the words that just seem to be reaching people right now. But can you actually imagine that? And how God literally gave you a check to cash. And I'm not in, you need to catch this. Don't y'all get caught up in all this like material thing, but giving you actually a check to cash in the area of your life for whatever your expectancy is, and then all of a sudden you give up on that after you cash it and you just transfer those funds over to the devil. I mean, wow, that just really got me right there.
That is such a visual.
It really is like that. And as I just walked out, and how God gives revelation, because I always wonder, I told you, and I told the listening audience, look, I always ask these questions, and y'all probably really caught how it says the devil comes to steal.
Those are my words. Really, Court?
To steal, kill, and destroy.
Yes, he does.
And I always ask God, well, why is it like steal? Why wouldn't you have kill, or destroy before the steal? Okay, doesn't he want to just like take us out as far as like believers? But the thing is that it is strategic, all right? And God just dropped this nugget down in me. If he can steal, okay, if he can steal enough of what you're actually believing in, then guess what? He can destroy, your vision and your purpose. And if he can destroy that vision and purpose or whatever that he has for your life, then guess what? It's going to cause you to have doubt. And then he's going to his ultimate thing is to kill the relationship that you have with God. See, before I thought it was killed one time as far as like naturally in some type of way like that. But his ultimate plan is to kill your relationship with God for you to turn your back on him.
Right.
And I mean, I was just like, wow. And I know some of you might be like, well, I got that. But look, hey, sometimes I'm slow. I'll admit it. Look, but look, just how he related it to me again, as far as like in this particular area. But I mean, it's just like really something. And, this was for me. This is definitely for you. And this is definitely for people that we were connected on. The other part what he actually had gave me. And he brought me back to something that happened as far as like on yesterday. And, I have to go ahead. I got to go to like the scriptures, but it's based on Ephesians 4, verse 29. And then you go like down to verse 31. And then, how at 29, how he said, let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what is good and necessary for edification that it may impart grace to the hearers. And I'm like, okay, well, I know that anything contrary to God's word. He was just like, I'm listening. How he says, read it again. If you never got that in your spirit, read it again, right? Just because there's more there. Well, as that was coming out with Pastor Greg last night, he was just like, so many of us really look at the surface of what I'm saying, but he said people don't go into the whole meaning of what I'm trying to convey to them. And then, of course, the whole corrupt word is, he was just like, anything. He was like, anything that we as believers say and it doesn't line up with his word is corrupt communication. Okay. And I was just like, okay, well, yeah, I got that. And I'm thinking of, of like the obvious stuff. But he was just like, if you define yourself on a time frame, when I told you my blessings on the outside of the realm of time, that's a corrupt communication because it goes into a belief that's not lining up with my word. If you say that that for whatever reason that I hope, but you have hope as expecting it comes out of your mouth like I'm hoping God does this, that's a corrupt communication. Instead of saying that it's already established, okay? Because God didn't tell you to. He didn't say that my word that you're going to hope or whatever in my word, He's everything that's lined up with his word as far as like is wrapped up in the realm of faith. And I'm just like that thing that I actually shared with Pastor Greg. He was just like, if people really don't realize that what I did before this world was even created is still paramount in their lives today. And he said, especially with men, okay? Meaning that if, Lord, show me how you put this. Okay. Basically how he said there's life and death in the power of the tongue, okay? Mm-hmm. And then he's like, okay, well, you really need, he said, even go deeper into that. And I'm like, well, how much deeper can you go into that, really? And then he was like, well, there's life and death. But he's like, there's also, if you look at the same sides of that coin, there's also creation and destruction. And I was just like, well, what does that mean? He was like, before creation was, what did I do? He's like, I spoke it. So he was like, for everything that people are actually expecting, okay, your words have to create everything, but your words also have to bring life to it. So he's like, life and death in the power of the tongue. I was another one of those, So, these little tidbits and how right now, I actually last night had to repent. And, Naomi was like in the van and everything with me. And she was like, Daddy, this is my plan. This is my plan I put out for God. And I'm like, this is what I'm hoping for. And then I was like, hold on. God just gave me a nice paddle on my backside, so I'm about to give you a paddle on your backside, okay?
Poor baby.
Did you pray to God about this? She was like, well, yes. Do you believe God's going to do this for you? She was like, yes. Then it should be in the realm of now you're thanking God for what you just said instead of, how did Brother Jesse said it? I'm believing. Almost like at an auction, he said, I'm believing. And he said it just really needs to be established, on the inside. But really it's like, something as simple, okay, losing weight. Well, I'm hoping I can lose like just 20 pounds in the next, 3 months, all right? Well, God's just like, well, you really don't believe exactly what you're saying, all right? It's that we almost, how do we go? It's almost like if we just cast the words out there, you know how you throw up dirt in the air and it just floats in the wind?
Right.
It's like really that's what we're doing. That's the visual that he actually gave me. That a lot of times when we're saying that we're expecting something, and we throw those words out there, it's like we just cast them in the wind and they just fluttering away.
Because we're not making them concrete.
Exactly. And, and I think, was it yesterday? Did I say that yesterday about the words being concrete as far as like in the air?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, maybe it was last night that he gave it to me.
I think I was kind of half asleep yesterday.
It's basically like this, is that everything that we say out of our mouths, okay, that's not lining up with his word. That's lining up what he says. That's not lining up with what he has on the inside of us. It's basically like this. Since she just said concrete, it's basically like everything that's been said, negativity and all of these different things. And like, this is not to have any kind of condemnation on anyone. But if you can get a visual of this, think of the air. Think of yourself being outside in the air. And if everything that you ever said negative about yourself or down about yourself or doubted about yourself, and it was in words, imagine those words appearing in the air, but they get solidified like concrete, okay? And they're stuck in the air, all right? And then every time you actually say something like God's word and you believe and you profess it, it's like a, doggone it, what do you call those big balls? Construction site,
Just
demolition
a
ball.
concrete breaker.
Yeah,
whatever.
a big demolition ball that's on a chain. Well, when you line up with what he's saying, it's like this big ball that goes through and it breaks all those concrete words that you put in like the atmosphere to like clear the pathway for he's actually guiding you.
Wow, I just got a visual on that. And if you don't speak the word over it, to be that concrete ball, that air around you could get so full of concrete that you can't breathe. You have nothing that you can't move, you can't breathe, you can't do anything.
Exactly. I mean, that's really what it is. And, that's how a lot of us right now, we're trying to figure out why is it that it seems like we're not moving. But it may be a blockade of words that we've actually spoken that are actually stagnating our own progress, towards what he's called us to do. And I mean, like I said, this is a whole nother level. I mean, I would love to be able to convey the things in the spirit that's out into the natural, but it's meat for each individual. So, I'm just really thanking God. And look, we ain't trying to be super churchy or anything up in here, but look, I know it's meat that needs to be shared on today. But, God just wanted you to use that right now, as he's just wanting you to know that even in your moment, that he can show you how to change your speech around and even allow, those things that you thought would never come to pass, let you know that they're right there before you. So look, stay in your moment, and we're going to go ahead and get right into this next break. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia and wow, God definitely is thriving in the studio on today. Wow, breaking it down up in here, revelation on top of revelation on top of revelation. Wow, if nothing comes about, if you don't receive it, we definitely receiving it. I mean, it it seems kind of funny, but this is another one of those things where I just have to keep telling God, you're amazing. It's awesome, and that's my word I usually use, awesome at how God has you to bring something to deliver to his people, those that are listening, and at the same time while you're giving it, it's just touching you. I mean, I really enjoy how he does that. I really do. But, when we were like on break, my wife and I, we were talking, and, we were talking about those words that go out there, that anything that doesn't line up with what he says that you are capable of, that he wants for you to do, or what you're called to do, that it's like words being materialized in front and around you that are like concrete. And, it was basically like we said, it's like literally a prison is forming around you to where those words start to take the shape of bars. And you want to say the example that you had told me is the PBS.
Oh, the words, the taking the shape. The only thing I could relate it to was a little program that the kids used to watch on PBS where I can't remember the name of it.
I don't remember the show either.
For instance, if it was trying to teach children how to spell. So what they would do is if there was a chair, the word chair would be spelled out in the shape of a chair.
Right. Right.
So, or table or whatever, it was the word that they used for that shape or for that item.
I mean, I'm listening to you right now, and of course, something just popped up inside of me. He was like, now, how many people would stop certain corrupt communication out of their mouth if their words actually took the shape of what they were actually talking about right in front of them? How many people would stop doing that?
A lot of people would probably stop talking.
They probably would take off running, too.
They would definitely be slow to speak and think about what they were saying.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
I'm for one. I'm not saying for everybody else. I would be one of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, and something that goes like into another portion of what that deals right with that, as far as gave me this visual as well, because I mean, God is really wanting someone to get this today. I mean, because it's basically like this. We already know he has a plan and a purpose for, each and every one of his children. We know that, okay? Jeremiah 29:11, okay? We know that. So, but the thing is that he gave me this visual as well, okay? I've got the plan, I've got the purpose. And he put it like in a roadway, okay, in front of me. But he's like, okay, the roadway, it's like a well-maintained park. A well-maintained highway. There's no trash, there's no debris, there's nothing. It's just smooth sailing, right? Okay, for what you see. Sunshine and everything. But he was like, every time we speak something negative about how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to do that, I'm going to give up on this, we talk about someone behind their back, we think, and he's like to the point of where you think thoughts that are so loud, it's almost just like you are speaking, okay, whatever it is, and that's a lot of us. Hey,
that's a lot of us.
That's me. I'm here to tell you, that's me.
I'm there.
And then he's like, basically, you look at this pathway, and based upon what you say, it's like all of a sudden the conditions go from sunny to where it starts to get a little cloudy, to where you start having a little rain. Then all of a sudden, winds start getting a little boisterous, and you say something else, a tree falls down on the road. Then all of a sudden, trash starts blowing in from one side. Everything you say starts to change the condition of the pathway that he has you on. And I'm just like, man, that kind of explains a lot about different seasons, huh?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, for different seasons that we've gone through, and, for the season that we're in right now, everything that we're doing right now is like everything, not a little bit, but everything is on the level of we're expecting, but man, it's totally unexpected.
But thinking about that with the contrary winds coming and that analogy you just gave, I want to say it was probably a month ago that Pastor Greg was talking about that in church when he was talking about that angel coming down Jacob's ladder.
Come on now.
And you would speak something, so the angel would start coming, and then your words would be against what you had spoken,
Right,
and then
right.
the angel's got to go back up.
Exactly.
He can't bring everything because what you're saying is contrary to what you originally spoke.
Exactly. And I mean, it's almost like that whole the only person in the Bible I can actually equate this to is that, oh yeah, this is definitely what we're going to close out. So I'm going to hold that because that's big. That's one big thing that he said last night that made me do that almost lean out in the aisle way type of thing when he had came with that last night. But it's basically like, my wife is saying to where God has his angels, as they say, the visual coming up. He's there on Jacob's ladder. They're coming down. And I mean, it's fast track, right? I mean, they got it. I mean, they smiling. Oh yeah, we're about to bring it to him. It's about to be a party. And then all of a sudden you say, man, I can't see why she wearing something like that. Hit the brakes.
Yep.
All of a sudden. But just something like that. I just cannot understand why she's wearing this, or I can't understand why they're not getting this, whatever it may be.
Because that would be considered corruptible communication.
And then this is the really big thing, and how I've even heard before to where someone was told that the angel was coming down, but because of things that's going on in your life, the angel started going back up the ladder. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, how God doesn't dwell in uncleanness and filthiness and stuff like that. Well, it has to be the same thing for those that serve him, right?
That's right.
So the more dirt, per se, that you pile up under the ladder and it gets higher and higher, then guess what? The angel has to start going back up the ladder. And then what does that do? Increases your time frame on whatever your manifestation is you're expecting. Man, God, keep it up in here on this morning. Goodness.
Wow.
I mean, keep it up. So, I mean, it really is how, it's, and I'm saying this for myself. It's like I got a book in front of me right now. I'm looking at it in the spirit. It's like Breakthrough for Dummies. And I'm like, look, that's the only way I can put it, okay? It's like Breakthrough for Dummies. And like I said, I'm talking to me. You can grab a hold of that book. You can say, yeah, Lord, sign my copy here so you can give it to me. But look, I mean, right now, and how God.
But then, wait, I'm going to correct you.
Go ahead.
Because you got to watch your words.
Yeah, you look, definitely.
So, not for dummies.
Well, look, for those that need more growth, how about that? There you go. Look, for those that need more growth, all right? And we never stop growing. And it
That's
goes
right.
all the way back to what we've always been saying. Nowhere in the Bible will you see adult of God.
Never.
Always what? Child of God, children of God. I mean, because God knows we're steadily going to be on that pathway to be going on an upswing. I mean, man, it's just something up in here. And what we talking about? His word, his way. All right? Definitely. His word, his way. And for him to literally be taking the time to break this down to us today. And I mean, I just thought it was odd. I mean, because my wife would tell you, I like to be prepared when I'm going into something.
I'm really wondering how you're staying on point because, you have no notes in front of you.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, I'll just be real with you.
You'd have been in 20 different directions by now.
Look, as he gives it to me, I'm giving it to all of you out there, okay? So trust me when I'm telling you. This is much love that we giving you because, I mean, like, wow. He's
way out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, this is like, first partaker. So everything that I'm giving to you is definitely resonating with me, and I know it's resonating with my wife over there because, wow, she's probably only drank the coffee and sipped it twice since she's been sitting on the side of me over there.
No, I've been drinking it throughout.
Well, you've over been by the board drinking a lot of the coffee.
Well, that's because I've been participating.
Oh, yes, indeed.
I'm doing my BTS moment.
Oh, here we go. And that's a whole nother show in itself right there. But anyway, definitely, like I said, we're talking about his word, his way. And if you haven't really caught up on that right now, look, wow, on Thriving Thursday, wow, he is want to get you out of this mode of simply just surviving to thriving. And he's just laying it out for you. I mean, he's really laying it out for you. And if you didn't catch a hold of it, look, I'm going to take this bad boy and I'm going to be chewing on it like through the course of the entire weekend and beyond. But look, don't take it lightly that you're hearing these words and that it's actually really resonating with you because God's probably saying, guess what? I'm answering you right now and giving you the tidbit that's necessary for you to what? Receive that manifestation. So look, we're going to go ahead and take this break, but look, stay with us in your moment. Welcome going back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan, and oh my Lord, I just caught it. Look, I don't even want to show the end. I mean, it's just like a lot that's going on. I see, I'm one of those people that when God is dropping nugget after nugget, I'm not just going to go there and say, give me a single serving. I'm going to go up with the buffet, and, sometimes you can have a, look, look, that's what I'm saying. My wife say go up there with the bathtub instead of the cup. Look, oh, man, it's like, I was sharing with David on yesterday as far as like what he's doing in the midst of like the whole OPT family. I said the effort that he wants us to do is equated to this. And I don't even think you were in the office or whatever around when we did this. I said, just like the cup that you have right in your hand right now, that travel mug, right? I said, what we are called to do is equated to this cup, okay, this mug right here. And I said what God wants to do and give back to us would be like a dump truck backing up to the front door and just dropping it off to us. And I was just like, wow, it's just that powerful of what God wants to do. And look, I definitely don't want to miss this last part in this last portion of the show to share with you, but Pastor Greg brought out something last night. And man, like I said, I was catching this. And it goes back to something we said at the beginning of the week. Now, he said that and I'm going to have to use our boy Gideon, right? And how the angel came to him in the Bible when he was at night threshing the wheat, hiding around the wine press at night, okay, threshing some wheat at night. And then the angel appears to him and said, "Hail, you mighty man of valor." And then, I love how I just go, I can just see his face. Who, me?
You talking to me?
Yeah, who you talking to? You must not know. Don't you know I'm the least in my father's house, and our house is the least in all the tribes of Israel and stuff like that? And then, but God had basically said that and catch this, you have got to catch this. You have got to catch this right now as you're in your moment, okay? Literally, God has showed it to me last night to where so many of us, to where we have a word spoken over us. Okay, we have a word spoken over us. Remember, his word, his way. We have a word spoken over us about what God says we are. Okay, did you catch that we are? But we think, okay, as people, we have to go down a certain path until we get to that point to be there. That's just that, as my wife loves to call it, that process of bringing it out in the natural. But when God tells you you are something, you are already that at that point. All you're doing is just walking it out to where it becomes a visual representation to people, okay? And so what he's saying, as he actually broke this down to me, is that when, Pastor Greg was doing the whole pull and tug with the cords and everything like that, how you hear people say, claim and hold on it, claim and hold on to it. But, he was saying it's more than just a claim and hold on to it. It's actually coming to the realization of already what was already done. And, of course, here I go again, what you mean, and how I did the example at the beginning of the week and how I actually asked God a long time ago, how are we so connected as his children, and then he brought me back in the spirit to actually see him crafting Adam and stuff, and then I looked down and saw all of us connected through generations and generations. He was just like, because how the scripture was and how he knew us before we were formed in our mother's womb.
Right.
Basically, and how the plan and purpose that he has in store for our life, it's already done. And he's like, so many of my people, and I'm just put it to you like this. So many of us, and this is me, so many of my kids waste their time praying to me about stuff that was done before the foundations of the world. He's just like, it's already done. He's like, you asking me for stuff that's just already been done. He's like, because what? His word, his way. If I already decreed a thing, it's already solidified like those concrete words, okay? But instead of it being a prison to you, it's actually that foundation of how it's actually guiding you along that pathway.
Right. No, I just...
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead. I know.
No, I was just thinking about, it's a wrecking ball.
Yeah, that's it. You could say that's the wrecking ball. Right. There you go. That is the wrecking ball that's actually breaking up all of those negative structures, those words that are in front of you that may well have you in prison, you know? And I love how you use that PBS show, and I don't know what it was. I wanted to say Sesame Street or whatever it was.
I don't know.
It was something like that. Street. Of how every time the words came out, the words took shape of what the word actually was, you know? And that's how it is right now, as far as like with God. From this point on, okay, whatever comes out of your mouth, hold on to that visual, that whatever comes out of your mouth, you have to see it as taking shape right in front of you. And I truly believe, and I'm going to take that myself, that the words that come out of my mouth, okay, that it's going to it's taking shape, and I can see it right in front of me, because that's really going to actually help guide us in like a lot of decision making, as far as like things that we need to actually do, instead of like having that false kind of hope thing. I mean, and you know, it like I said, it just comes into play as far as like in us being able to receive, and how that angel that you had said that God told you maybe 2 weeks ago, and how he came down a little bit further on that ladder. Now, look, I didn't get up and I didn't start running, but I tell you what, even though you didn't see my feet when we were under that desk, these feet were moving when I heard that. Let me tell you, look, I was like running in place, you know, with my feet under that desk. But it's something that how if how can I tell you, if you pay attention to where God just lets you know that you're right on course, right on track with something, and you know, to someone else it may seem really small, it may really seem insignificant, but you know, based upon what you're believing for, if you're like really in tune to what he's been what he has been saying to you, trying to convey to you, I mean, it's really going to have like this really awe-inspiring impact as far as like in your life. And you know, as far as like with those corruptible words that we have, and look, he's letting you know right now, bitterness, some of us have bitterness still on the inside of us.
That's right.
And I mean, that bitterness thing, man, wow. That's like that latent, that's that latent seed that can go on for years and you just don't know about
That's
it.
right, because
like,
that thing takes root, and it won't pop its head up until it's too late, before you don't even realize it.
Bitterness, I mean, you can definitely have wrath. I mean, and a lot of people, wrath and anger, they're like, well, it's the same. No, it's not the same. You can be angry, and, you know, Scripture even lets us know to not let the sun go down on our anger, okay? But the thing is with that is that wrath. Wrath is that thing that leads you, if you cannot understand wrath, think of hate, okay? And if you ever wanted to find yourself separated from the love of God, you definitely be in the realm of knowing what it is to be separated from God. And then, you know, definitely clamor, doing things that are unbecoming to God, okay? Just letting you know. And clamor as far as like that whole thing about you can be joking in a way and it's not godly the way you joke. I'm just trying to throw it out there to help someone, okay? And then also, you know, like we said, the evil speaking. And, you know, as we go back to this and as we're about to go out the door, that evil speaking and how God was just like, and if you really meditate on that, anything that doesn't, we said that it doesn't line up with his word. And of course, God is the word. Okay. If you didn't know that, go to, you know, John chapter 1. All right. But the thing is, any way we actually present ourselves, any way that we speak, any way that we think, the belief system or whatever, it's basically, you know, if it's not lining up with him, it's like, you know, an evil representation. I mean, really. And like I said, it's something that really sparks something on the inside of me, just like I know it sparks something on the inside of each and every one of you. And I mean, this right now, this is going to keep me resonating on cloud nine for where God's taking us. And, you know.
And everybody said, amen.
So, you know, that's good. That's good. If you didn't realize it right now, if you never knew what it was to have a top choice steak, that filet mignon, you know, he just gave it to you on today. Well, I mean, it's just awesome. I mean, and it's been exciting. I mean, God's want you to know exactly how he wants you to just thrive right now in this season that he has for you. So look, it's something that he's wanting you to do. It's something how he wants you to keep growing. And he just wants to know just each and every day how much he loves you. We love you. And look, we're going to see you on tomorrow on Fire It Up Friday. So take care. God bless. And right before we close out, we're going to have coming with us what? On Point Talk, we call that Christmas. And then we got David Christmas in there bringing you the comedy situation. Yep. All right. Amen. So we'll take care and see you on tomorrow, everyone.